Hi gang, Father PJ here in the youth room, which is kind of doubling as our studio in the midst of these very strange days. This video is very specifically for our confirmandi, for the students anticipating confirmation. I know that your confirmation retreat would ordinarily have been here in just 2 weeks, and then your confirmation not very long after that. We absolutely are still committed to getting you confirmed. There's no doubt about that. I'm proud of the work that you've done. I'm proud of the young men and women that I've watched you grow into the last couple of years. But the confirmation itself will be postponed indefinitely. The bishop has asked us to postpone all spring and summer confirmations until we have a better sense of when we can gather as a whole church again. So as more information becomes available in the course of the next few weeks, we'll let you know as soon as we know when we'll be able to gather together for confirmation. And once we know when we'll be able to gather for confirmation, we'll know when the retreat is going to happen as well. In the time that you've got, though, I really would ask you to consider how to spend the time that you've got between now and then preparing for confirmation. You've been preparing in a kind of head way up until now, but really start preparing in a heart way. We've all got more time than we used to. We've probably all got some more quiet than we are accustomed to. And in that quiet space, in that extra time space, just ask yourself, what are the things I need most? What are the graces that I need most? Where do I need to grow most in virtue? I know the kind of person I want to be when I grow up. How can I get from where I am now to that person? Which is not simply a matter of what things should I study, or where should I go to school, or who should I meet, or what skills should I get. But what do I have to do internally to become the kind of person God wants me to be? And I'd hold up, just for your consideration in these days and weeks, your own confirmation saint, the saint whom you've chosen. Pray to them and read back over their life. But very specifically, I want to hold up for your consideration Saint Aloysius Gonzaga. Gonzaga University out west, right, is named after him. But the reason I want to propose him for you is because he was just a couple years older than most of you guys. He was smart, he was good looking, he came from a really rich family, was all set to go to law school and have life kind of on a string, and he decided instead to enter the Jesuits, the same religious order that our Holy Father, Pope Francis, is a part of. And so he entered the seminary, and he didn't survive it. Not because seminary is that hard all the time, but because in his day, as in ours, there was a plague. There was a global pandemic, at least a European pandemic. And the city of Rome, something like a third of the people got sick. And so St. Aloysius and several of his brothers put their studies on hold to go out and tend the sick who were in the streets. And he wound up catching the plague and dying. And so he's held up as the patron saint of youth because he was young and full of life. He wasn't just young in age, but he had all the qualities that we aspire to in youth. And he gave it up. He gave it up first for the ideal of the priesthood, and then second, ultimately, for loving care of the sick. Now, that isn't to say we need to put ourselves in physical danger. You need to go find a corona patient and care for them. That's not what I'm saying. You do need to be mindful of them, though. You need to think about them, especially now, since we understand virology better. We know to keep people in isolation, but that means they're often very lonely. So the patients themselves are in need of great prayer. It also means that that same heart which inspired St. Aloysius to sort of be on the lookout, not just to avoid the near occasion of sin, but to be anticipating the near occasion of grace, that's got to be our mission. That's got to be your mission, especially in these days when we find ourselves more or less cooped up, when there are people around us, maybe even in our own homes, that are in need of more care than we've been willing to give, and when we've got a little more time to prepare for a great gift that God very much longs to give us.